an incredible week in a lot of different ways. We this week had our week of prayer and fasting, how we spend the first week of the year every year. And if you can imagine this room filled with people praying the whole week, that's what it was. And man, it was just a powerful time. And we really expect great things as we all gather together, seek the Lord together. Many of you seeking the Lord at home or on your own could make it in. Either way, there's something really amazing and powerful about when God's people will take the time to meet with Him and what that does in our hearts when that happens. And so, I expect even more great things to come. It's not like we did it and that's the end. That's like the great first step. You're out of the blocks, if you will, and running hard and ready to go fast after you spend the time seeking the Lord. And so it was an amazing, amazing week. We prayed for so many things. And one of the things we certainly prayed for was what's happening here in our Southern California region with all the terrible fires that are going on. And it's really surreal. It's unbelievable. And right now, everybody's looking for a way to help. If you have not, we're in the area but not been directly affected by the fires, I'm sure in some way we all will. But if you're looking for some ways to help, let me just tell you right now, everybody wants your money. And it seems like such a noble cause, right? I mean, we want to help people. But what I've found working with a lot of organizations is a lot of times these organizations, they do mean well. I don't want to, paint them in a negative light, but sometimes they have so much overhead. They have so much management. They have so many things they have to do that for every dollar you give, only a portion of that actually lands where you really want it to land, and that's with the people that need it the most. And so that's why, over the course of the years, really, we have not necessarily jumped in immediately, with donations and all that kind of stuff, because we want to make sure that it lands in a good place. And so here's what I want to suggest to you. If you've already done something, God bless you. I think under the Lord sees that you'll be rewarded for it. But here's our plan as a fellowship. Number one, directly and immediately, one of the groups of the many that got affected by all this were some rehabilitation centers in the burn areas that got burned out completely. And so they had to take all the residents who are trying to recover from addictions and all these things, and they're bringing them all here to Santa Fe Springs. And so the request has gone out to provide help to the local Lakata, which is the group here that's doing that same thing. And so there's a list. It looks just like this. They're out on the foyer area. They're on our social media. So it's just basic stuff that you might even have in your own house. Or if you're out shopping in the next day or two, you can pick up some of these things. Bring them here to the church by Wednesday, and we will get them directly to them because they're only like 2 miles away. And it will help immediately, and you will know that every tube of toothpaste or every roll of toilet paper or whatever blanket will go directly to people that have genuinely been displaced by this thing, and so you know that it's going to help them. And we just want to support, anybody we can, because everybody needs help at this point. And so that's one way to do it. Secondly, we've already contacted Calvary Relief, which is a ministry through Calvary Chapel, through Calvary La Habra, and we've kind of put our church there as a group that when you're ready to send teams, let us know. And they said, okay, when we're ready to send teams, because the fires are still burning, so there's only so much you can do. Right now there's churches that are bringing, food to the firefighters, and that's great. That should happen. But when the need becomes obvious and clear, we'll send teams there to do whatever. And obviously it's so close. It's a easy thing to do. And then as far as financially, one of the hubs for support and bringing resources for us will be Calvary Chapel Monrovia. Our friend, my dear friend, Pastor Richard there, he's been a friend of mine for years. He's a senior pastor of that church, and that's the hub for helping the Altadena area. And so I've been in contact with him. We've been exchanging messages. I told him, hey, whatever you guys figure out you need to help people, we're with you. And so he said, I will let you know. And so they're seeking the Lord. They have already been into the areas. They have family members themselves that are family members in the church that have lost their homes. And so, this has affected really as close to home as you can possibly get without affecting us directly. And so if you're like, I just got to give some money, you can give it wherever the Lord leads you, or you can know that, we're going to really back a ministry that's going to really focus just like we did when the fires in Lahaina happened. You remember that? And it was terrible. So many people. And so what we did is we had this big fundraiser, and I think we sent like $15,000 to Lahaina, to a Calvary Chapel that was doing direct relief to the people that were there. And we will do the exact same thing to the people here in our own county, in our own area. So if you're like, you don't have to feel guilty when you see, hundreds of groups saying, send us donations. You can do as the Lord shows you to do, but be sure that, if you really want it to hit 100%, because my goal is always, I want every penny that is offered to these people to go to the people. Does that make sense to you? It makes a lot of sense to me. And so I know that there's a ton of need. I know that there's people that are struggling right now. And so we want to just choose the spot through a group that will get everything there. And so, that's going to be an option for you as we move forward in the days and maybe near weeks ahead, is that, we're going to give you every opportunity we can to do that. So that is going on. And so if you have any questions about that, that's how we're going to, as a fellowship, as a family, we're going to handle that one. And then on another light, I just want to tell you, just kind of changing gears completely, because I kind of think it fits into our message today, as you can turn to Mark chapter 7, is as of tomorrow, your pastor and his amazing wife will be celebrating 35 years of marriage. And so I'll tell you, my wife deserves more than a medal. She is truly amazing. And I will tell you that after being saved for over 40 years, after being married for 35, after raising 4 kids and seeing them all married off and having 3 grandkids now and just watching what the Lord has done, I can tell you without a doubt in my mind that the Lord has the best plan for a person's life. He shows us the way to do this. And when you do it the Lord's way, as we have attempted to do, I haven't said we've succeeded, but we've attempted, we've tried, and the Lord has met us, that it has been absolutely amazing to see what the Lord has done. And all I can say is it's the grace of God. It's not that I'm a great guy. It's not that I'm intelligent or smart or anything. It's the mercies of God as people come and seek him in his grace. And we learn what the love of God looks like. Because I think in this day and age that we live in, we don't know what love looks like. We use the word love a lot, especially as we roll into Valentine's Day and that whole season. We'll hear a lot about, oh, this is love. And we really get it wrong in so many ways. We take that word love that means so much, and we've turned it into so little. I think about, I was looking at a list of things, like the worst possible gifts to give on Valentine's Day. Here's 3 of them. 3 of the, there's 20, but here's 3 that you really want to avoid. On Valentine's Day, do not give dental hygiene products. Do not give expired coupons. And I don't know how this fit in there. Do not give toilet seats. So, if you're looking for great gifts, toilet seat, cross that one off the list. That won't do on Valentine's Day. And I say that laughingly because over the years, I think of some of the gifts I've given my wife that were absolute bombs. Like this just didn't fly really well. And when you think about it, love is so much more than the gifts that we give, more than the presents that we offer to people. It's really how we relate to the people around us. I think that's such a better description and expression, if you will, of love. It's not just giving gifts, or it's not even necessarily giving things that people necessarily want. You know, whether it's a friend, whether it's a child, whether it's like, oh, I wanted this. Well, maybe that's not what you really needed. You know, it's maybe love isn't just approving and accepting everything people do without question as you watch them destroy themselves. You know, love can look a lot of different ways. I believe it's care. I think it's a genuine concern for not just the person, but their well-being. How they're going to do sacrificially living and being considerate and all these things that really God has such a better definition and a better way of expressing and showing love. And so that brings us to today's text in Mark 7. Strange story, because it doesn't seem to fit into the character of what we see and believe and understand about Jesus Christ. This loving God, this man that became flesh, the God that became flesh and is walking among his creation and blessing them and loving them and teaching them and helping them and healing them and doing all these things for them. And yet we see this interesting little text that we're going to look at today, where it looks like the Lord doesn't meet this woman who is in this dire need. He doesn't help this person that seems to need help so much. And we look at it from a glance and say, what's up with that? I don't understand that. And so maybe you have felt ignored by God at some point in your life. Maybe you're feeling ignored by God now. You've wondered, does God really care about the things that are going on in my life? Doesn't he know? And if he knows, doesn't he care? And so what we're going to learn about is what I'm going to suggest to you, kind of a new level of faith. A new level of our relationship with the Lord, where we deal with the know of God. Not the know, K-N-O-W, but the know, like no. How do we deal with that when we have to wait for an answer that doesn't come when we want it? How we deal with the disappointments and the things that just worked out in our mind bad. They didn't work out the way I thought they would. And I hope this text and what we learn from it will help us through those seasons of life that we run into. And so let's dive right into it. I hope you're with me already. Mark chapter 7. And we're going to be looking at verses 24 through 30 together today. And so the first thing I want to point out is this, as we look at this text, is we're going to meet this, what I'm going to call a persistent outsider. In verse 24, from there, he arose and went to the region of Tyre and Sidon. And he entered a house and wanted no one to know it, but he could not be hidden. And so Jesus can't be a ninja. He can't come into a place and be stealthy at this point and unseen. Even though he's going into an area called Tyre and Sidon, which are Gentile regions. They're regions where Jews did not live, where the Jewish people, the people of Israel, did not inhabit. And it's interesting that Jesus would choose this place to go. It's a Gentile region, still is. And so it shows that, well, Jesus wasn't bound to the Jewish traditions, the Jewish belief that, any genuine, faithful Jew would never go into a place where the Gentiles were. I mean, they just would avoid that. It's like, no, we didn't want the dust from that land on the bottom of our sandals. We don't want anything to do with them. Jesus goes to this place called Tyre and Sidon, about between 20 and 40 miles away from Capernaum, where he hung out most of the time. And he goes into this place, and even there he finds that, you know what? You just can't live in obscurity. By this point, Jesus and what he has taught people, the way he's lived, what he's done for people, the news of him has gone pretty far and wide. And so he gets there, and he's well known there by now. And you know, there's just going to be times where you and I, as the Lord begins to use your life, where you realize, you know what, I just want to live in obscurity. I just want everybody to leave me alone. I want to just leave me to my business. I don't want to be known by anybody. Well, you know, if you love the Lord and you're loving people, you're going to be known by people. And so obscurity is not necessarily going to be a thing that you're going to have all the time. And just accept that, you know, you're going to run into people at Walmart. And they're funny because when you run into people at Walmart or Costco or wherever, they always look in your cart. I think it's just the funniest thing, you know, you walk by people, you know, and they go, hey, what you got there? And it's like they just want to know what you're buying, you know. And so I pray to God that you don't embarrass yourself with some of the stuff that you shop for. But you just live with that. It's just, privacy isn't necessarily an option sometimes. But they're in Tyre and Sidon. He meets this woman in dire, dire need. Notice this in verse 25. For a woman whose young daughter had an unclean spirit heard about him, and she came and fell at his feet. And so here's this woman. And man, she is in a horrible place as a parent, as a mom. I don't know if you can imagine this. I can't. How awful this would be. But to have, I mean, I think any parent knows what it's like to have a disobedient child or a mischievous child or a troublemaking child. But a demon-possessed child? That would be awful. That would be just terrible. And here's this mother that has this demon-possessed kid. And I just, like, how does that happen? How does a child become demon-possessed? Is it possible? We see one right here. But here's the thing I want you to understand as a lesson, a worldview lesson. Understand this. Satan hates kids. Satan hates children. Satan is the ultimate pedophile. He is the ultimate child molester. He is the ultimate groomer. He always has been. He always will be. As long as he's around, he hates kids. I believe he was behind the slaughter of the Jewish boys in Egypt in Moses' day. I believe he was behind and is behind the slaughter of babies in the womb in our day. I believe he's behind the destruction of generations of people through the crazy, stupid, ungodly policies get adopted in our society today, like giving puberty blockers to children. It's insane. And giving them gender-changing surgeries to minors. It's insane. And reassigning their gender. That just so destructive to kids. And why does that happen? Because Satan hates kids. He hates children. He wants to destroy them, because here's the deal. If you can destroy a child's life, you destroy the entire life so often. It happens all the time. If you can destroy a child's life from the earliest ages, 2, 3, 4, 5, 10, if you can destroy them then, there's a good chance you've destroyed them for the next 40, 50, 60 years, however long they live. And that is why we love kids here. That's why we protect life. That's why we minister to children. That's why we pour truth into them and give them Jesus and give them an environment that's healthy, that they can grow and learn of the Lord and have genuine friendships and godly relationships and ultimately godly marriages that raise godly families. That's why we do what we do. Because as much as Satan hates kids, Jesus said, let the little children come to me. He loves kids. Children are important. And so here's this lady, and she comes with this dire need because she's got a kid that's demon-possessed. And we can see in verse 26 that she's very desperate. This woman was a Greek, a Syrophoenician by birth, and she kept asking him to cast the demon out of her daughter. And so she comes to him and she's just begging with all her heart for Jesus, this man that she's heard of, to come. And I've heard you've done this for other people. Will you please come help my daughter? Deliver my kid. It's terrible. And it points out very specifically that she was a Greek, a Syrophoenician, which is for our purposes, she was just not a Jew. She was not an Israelite. She was not part of the covenant people. And so take a look at Jesus' response. This is so interesting. In verse 27, but Jesus said to her, let the children be filled first, for it is not good to take the children's bread and throw it to the little dogs. Now, this is a very surprising answer for some of us when we hear this come from the mouth of Jesus. And let me just give you a very simple paraphrase of what Jesus said meant. Basically what he's saying is, since you're not a Jew, since you're not Jewish, I shouldn't help you. I shouldn't help you yet. And you're like, what, Jesus? What? This doesn't fit. And so let's kind of look at what he's saying here. He says to this woman, let the little children be filled first. Let the little children. The little children would be the children of Israel. His family, his heritage. Or possibly, he could be talking about his own disciples who were with him. Hey, I'm ministering to my guys right here, my little children. And so, I'm not going to minister to you. I got to take care of them first, which is logical. It's logical that you take care of your own, the people that are directly under your responsibility, before you help everyone else. And so I think the logic isn't bad, it's sound. It's just surprising. But probably what's a little more surprising is what he goes on to say. It's not good to take the little children's bread and throw it to the little dogs. And I could see it now. Oh, no, you didn't. Did you just do that, Jesus? Did you just call her a dog? Because in the Hebrew culture, it's interesting, the Hebrew language does not have curse words. Almost any other language I know of, in fact, when a Hebrew speaker wants to curse, they have to use English. They have to use another language. They can't use Hebrew to curse at somebody. It's a beautiful language, amazing, that there's no curse words in it. And so the most offensive, the meanest thing you could call somebody is a dog. In fact, the word goyim, the Hebrew word dog, is the way they would describe Gentiles. They're goyim, they're dogs. And the idea behind that kind of description is the dog in that culture was like this scavenging, mangy pack animal that you had to watch yourself, because they would take your animals, your chickens or whatever, and they'd kill them. They would scavenge through your trash. They'd make a mess. They were just not, they were frowned on by everybody. And so if they wanted to insult you, the best thing they could do, or the worst thing they could do, is they could say, goyim, you dog, you're just a dog. And so it became a very derogatory word, probably the worst word you could use about a person. And so Jesus says, hey, you know what? I got to take care of the children first, not let crumbs to fall to the dogs, or not feed the dogs. And so it's interesting, because what Jesus does is not what you would read in the English. When we read it, you go, oh man, you just called that lady a dog, man. I mean, I know in our culture, hey, dog, what's up? People say that all the time. It's like, okay, yeah, that works. But if you say that person's a dog. That's even in our culture not a nice thing to say. But he doesn't use the word dog like the Hebrew word dog, that offensive word, that scavenger word. He uses a different, completely different vocabulary word. It's the only time it's found in the New Testament. Only time it's used. And if you'll notice in your English, it says little dogs. And it's that's kind of the idea behind this word that he uses. It's not the offensive word for dog, but he calls them little dogs. And it's called a diminutive. You know what a diminutive is? Does anybody not know anybody not know what a diminutive is? Okay, a few of you. It's an interesting word, diminutive, D-I-M-I-N-I-T-I-V. Diminutive means it's just little or small. Diminutive means that it's the small version. And when you use a diminutive, in many cases, like this one here, and in other languages, it can be a term of endearment. You know, I've gone to a lot of places, Spanish-speaking cultures, and they call you hermano, right? What does that mean? Brother. Hey, bro, hermano. But I've also been called hermanito, right? And when they say that, I've been called that by people that are smaller and younger than me. So it's kind of odd, hermanito, huh? You know, but it's not like I'm their little brother. It was a term of care and love, and that's the same idea here. When he uses that word little dog, he's not talking about this pack animal that everybody hated, this. He's talking about like what you would actually maybe have, more like a puppy. Everybody loves puppies. Even if you don't like dogs, you probably like puppies. They're kind of cute. And so he's using this word because his intention there is not to blow this lady off. I mean, he's in a Gentile area. I mean, he's in a Gentile area. What would you expect to find there? And so he is there not to offend this lady, not to hurt this lady, but he's doing something. And we see how this plays out in verse 28. Take a look at verse 28. And she answered and said to him, "Yes, Lord, even the little dogs under the table eat from the children's crumbs." This is a faith-filled response from this lady. And Jesus knew this is what he would get from her. She didn't debate him. She didn't say, "What you talking about, Jesus? What you talking about?" She didn't get offended. She didn't get hurt and storm off like an angry person. She replies in faith and trust. How do you know? She says, "Lord." Did you see that? She called him Lord. You don't normally call people Lord who are offending you and you sense are antagonistic to you. But she says, "Lord." And then what she goes on to say in verse 28 is she says, "Yes, Lord. Yet even the little dogs under the table eat from the children's crumbs." Even the dogs get some scraps. Tell you what. When my grandkids come over and they sit in the high chair or in the booster seat at the table, my dog starts salivating. She gets vavas coming down. She knows. She's like, "Oh boy, look at that. They're eating." And when they're eating, I know what that means. And so sometimes we have to actually put her outside because she's out of control. And as soon as, man, that door's open, she let in, man, she's all over it. She's like a vulture. And so I get that. That the dog, in fact, this crazy dog of mine, she never goes under the table. Ever. Except when we're eating. When we're eating, this 75-pound behemoth of a dog will sit under the table at my feet just waiting for pennies from heaven to fall down and bless her. And so this wise lady says, "Hey, you know what, Lord? Even even the dogs under the table, they pick up the crumbs that are dropped off the master's table. And so what she's saying is, even a crumb, Lord, even a crumb from you is sufficient. That's what she's saying. Even a crumb, anything. And understand this. What is a crumb off the master's table will be a feast to you and me. Even a crumb from Jesus is like a bounty to us. And so what she's saying, man, even a crumb, Lord, even a crumb would be, that's what happens. There's something for everyone in the household of God. And so it's interesting how this is working out, isn't it? That in this whole dialogue that seems like a little surprising and out of character for this one that everybody looked at and that we look at as, man, God is love. God is mercy. God is kind. And we see this, sorry. Got to take care of the little children first, not the dogs. It turns into something where she pursues him even more. And her request becomes a model of faith-filled prayer. Her request, becomes an example to us of really what it looks like to have powerful prayer. And having come out of this week that we just did, it's like, man, it's such a beautiful thing. That's why one of the values we have as a church is prayer. We value the word, we value prayer, we value worship, and we value missions. Those are the four things that we like. We value these things. These are the things that we hold on to. There's a lot of important things in this world, in this life, but these are our values. And so her request is a model of faithful prayer. One commentator praised her for 9 reasons, 9 features of her prayer that are, I think, very good. Notice her prayer was, number 1, it was short, it was humble, it was full of faith, it was fervent, it was modest, it was respectful, it was rational, it was relying upon the mercy of God, and it was persevering. All in about 15 words. She had a prayer of 15 words. And yet, what an amazing accomplishment. And so, verse 29, let's see how this all works out. Then he said to her, for this saying, go your way. The demon has gone out of your daughter. And when she had come home to her house, she found the demon gone out of her daughter, and her daughter lying in bed. And so her faith is rewarded. It's interesting. He rewards her for this trust, enough confidence that she would pursue after him. And we know that she was walking in faith. In Matthew, same event, Matthew records a different detail. He recognizes how great her faith is. She took Jesus at his word. And when he said, go home, your daughter's fine, she took off. She left. And I don't think there's anything that appeals to the Lord more than faith coupled with humility and obedience. When we just say, Lord, I believe you, I trust you, and now I'm going to follow through with what you've told me to do. And so, it's interesting to me, this is one of the few events, the few miraculous things that Jesus does, that he's not present in the presence of the person that he's helping. I can think of at least one other instance where it happens, but it's not common in the New Testament to see Jesus healing somebody from but what we see is he's got the ability to. He doesn't have to go to this woman's house. He doesn't have to do anything. I think we talked about it just a couple weeks ago. The centurion's servant, just say the word, and we're good. I know you can take care of it. I know you have the power and the ability to do things without showing up in the location. You could do whatever you want. And so he wasn't in that place where so many people can be. You can, again, close your Bibles up, I guess, at this point. I'm not going to turn you anywhere else. But when I think about what's going on, the lesson that can be learned here, I was reminded of a guy in the Old Testament. And he's actually mentioned in the New Testament, but he was a guy in the Old Testament, 2 Kings chapter 5, 6, somewhere around there. His name was Naaman. He was a Syrian. He was a Syrian commander. He was a military guy, high-ranking, official, important guy in Syria. Good guy, apparently, because, he was respected by a lot of people. But he had a problem. He had leprosy, which is a terrible disease to have, in that day especially. And so his little Jewish servant says, oh, if you could just see this man in my homeland named Elisha, he could help anybody. And so he says, really? So he gets permission to go to Elisha. And so he takes this big entourage, chariots and, military, and he's got this whole, and he shows up in front of Elisha's house with a request. Hey, come and, from the king of Syria, come and heal my guy. He's in bad condition. Heal him. And so Elisha, he doesn't even come out of the house. He sends his servant and says, go tell that dude to go dip in the Jordan River 7 times. Just go tell him to dip in the river and you'll be good. And this dude gets so angry. He's inflamed. It's like, what are you mad about? Well, I expect him to come out and do something, wave his hands or do some kind of thing that looked impressive. And then but just to dip in his dirty little river called the Jordan, this muddy little river. We got better rivers back home. And then his servant says, hey, boss, if he would have asked you to do something hard, would you have done it? Well, yeah. What would it hurt? What would it hurt to go and dip in the Jordan River 7 times? And so he goes, well, all right. You know how us guys are. All right, I'll try. Ain't going to work, but, I'll do it anyway. And so he goes down and he dips 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. On the 7th time, he is restored completely. His skin is like a baby skin. Just unblemished. Just like, dude, what happened to you? What kind of lotion did you put on? But what's interesting to me is not that he got healed, but this guy got whole. He was healed, he was whole. And that's the point of this whole text that we just studied. Is that it's bigger. The bigger goal is to draw faith and to develop trust and to deepen a relationship. That's what God really cares about. And if just giving somebody what they ask for, they go away and they're really not changed very much, then we miss the goal. And so Elisha, knew that Naaman needed to labor through that, kind of what seemed like a rejection, to bring him to the place where he wasn't just healed, but he was whole. And I want to suggest to you, that's exactly what's happening with our Greek Syrophoenician mom with a demon-possessed daughter. Is when Jesus engages her, the easy thing to do is say, okay, fine, she's healed, go home. Or the easy thing is, okay, I'm on my way, I'll cast the demon out, no problem. But that next level of what he's doing in her life is by not giving her what she asked for. And in doing that, it deepened her faith so that she got more than she could have ever asked for. And that's the goal. He is shaping her and she's shaping you. And so if you're in that place now where it's like, why isn't God answering my prayer? Why does it seem like God is so unwilling to answer and do the things I want him to do? I just want to suggest to you that it very well could be that he is shaping you for eternity. He is doing things in you that will only happen when you will work through, labor through what looks like his unwillingness. So we can get you to the place where you've grown and matured in ways you never thought you could. I like what Samuel Rutherford said, and we'll wrap it up with this. It's faith's work to claim and challenge loving kindnesses out of all the roughest strokes of God. That's what faith does. Is it finds kindness and goodness even in the things that seem so hard. And that is how you overcome the unwillingness of God. Let's pray. Father, we do thank you again, Lord. We thank you for your mercies. We thank you for loving us, Lord, showing us great grace, grace we don't deserve. Lord, I pray that as we wrap up this time together, that you would meet us. Maybe there's people here that don't know you. Maybe there's people here that don't have a relationship with you, or maybe somehow they've just kind of put themselves in a bad spot. They haven't trusted you. They've walked in disobedience, and now they find themselves in a situation that's not really that great. Whatever the case may be, Lord, I know there's a work that you want to do by your grace, Lord, because of the cross, because of your love, that we can be forgiven, we can have a new beginning, we can be born again, we can have hope, Lord, in this life. And it happens because we have a relationship with you. And so we pray, Lord, that if anybody here needs to come to you and place their faith in you today, if they need to turn from where they're at and turn to you, to have their minds changed and their heart changed by placing their faith in the one who died and rose from the dead. Lord, we pray that that work would happen today. And if you're here today and you would say, you know what, I do want something to happen in my life. I do want God to work in my life. I don't know what to do. The answer is this: you place your faith in Jesus Christ and his work on the cross to pay the penalty for your sin, and his resurrection from the dead. He wants to work in you. He is knocking on the door of your heart right now saying, if you'll just open, I'm going to come in and we're going to have fellowship together. We're going to become family. And so that's you today. And you would say, yeah, I'm ready to leave the guilt and leave the shame and leave the condemnation, leave all the garbage and turn to God in faith. I'm going to ask you right where you're at. Will you get up out of your seat? Will you stand? Because I want to lead you in prayer. That's the goal. That's the point. I want to lead you in a prayer of inviting the Lord to come in and forgive you and start a work in you. And he wants to do it so bad because he loves you. He loves you. God bless you. Anyone else? You're here and you know the Lord has been speaking to you. You know he's speaking to you now. You can sense that. He's tugging you and saying, you should be standing. You should be receiving what God has for you today. If that's you, I'm going to invite you right where you're at. This is a family. We love you. We support you. We want to see this happen for you. We want to see you do well. Not as much as the Lord wants you to do well, but we want to see you do well. And so that's you. Get up out of your seat, stand to your feet, and the Lord's going to meet you. He wants to bless you. Don't be afraid. Do not be afraid. Anyone else? Anyone else? The Lord's tugging on you. This is your chance. Take it. No promise, no guarantees. There's another one. There's no guarantees in that. And so if you hear his voice, if you hear that call, answer it today. Today is the day of salvation. Anyone else? Awesome. Awesome, awesome, awesome. God bless you. I want to lead you in prayer. And so just pray with me, okay? Just repeat these same words. Just say this. Heavenly Father, I confess I've sinned against you. I ask you to forgive me. Thank you for sending Jesus to die on a cross for my sin. I believe he's risen. And I surrender my life to you. Help me to walk with you from this day forward. In Jesus' name, amen and amen. Hey, God bless you. Why don't we all stand? Why don't we all stand? Hey, love you guys. Come on back tonight. We'll look at the entire chapter. I'm excited about this year and what the Lord is going to do. We're going to see God do some great things together. And I just love you guys as family. You guys are a blessing to me. You're a blessing. We're a blessing to one another. So let's close in worship, and we will see you tonight.